one who facilitates everything. Vishwam Visham Vasharta Vishwam Vishwam Vasharta The one who takes
Namaskaram. My name is Shivani Swaminathan. I am going to sing Margazhi Tingal. Margazhi Tingal மதி நிறைந்த நன்னாளால் நீராட போதுவீர் போதுமினோ நேரிழையீர் மார்கழி திங்கள் மதி நிறைந்த நன்னாளால் நீராட போதுவீர் போதுமினோ நேரிழையீர் சீர் மல்குமாய் பாடி சீர் மல்குமாய் பாடி செல்வ சிறுமிகள் சீர் மல்குமாய் பாடி செல்வ சிறுமிகள் கூர்வேல் கொடுந்தோரிலன் நந்தகோபன் குமாரன் கூர்வேல் கொடுந்தோரிலன் நந்தகோபன் குமாரன் ஏராந்த கண்ணீர் யசோத இளம் சிங்கம் கார்மேனி செங்கன் கதிர்மதியம் போல் முகத்தான் ஏராந்த கண்ணீர் யசோத இளம் சிங்கம் கார்மேனி செங்கன் கதிர்மதியம் போல் முகத்தான் நாராயணனே ஆ நாராயணனே நமக்கே பறை தருவான் நாராயணனே நமக்கே பறை தருவான் பாரோர் புகழ பரிந்தேலோரம்பாவாய் பாரோர் புகழ பரிந்தேலோரம்பாவாய் மார்கழி திங்கள்
மார்கழி திங்கள் மதி நிறைந்த நன்னாளால்
மார்கழி திங்கள் மதி நிறைந்த நன்னாளால்
மார்கழி திங்கள் மதி நிறைந்த நன்னாளால் நீராட போதுவீர் போதுமினோ நேரிழையீர்
நீராட போதுவீர் போதுமினோ நேரிழையீர்
சீர்மல்குமாய் பாடி சீர்மல்குமாய் பாடி செல்வ சிறுமீர்கள்
சீர்மல்குமாய் பாடி
செல்வ சிறுமீர்கள் கூர்வேல் கொடுந்தொழிலும் நந்தகோபன் குமரன்
கூர்வேல் கொடுந்தொழிலும் நந்தகோபன் குமரன்
ஏராந்த கண்ணி யசோத இளம் சிங்கம்
ஏகாந்த கண்ணி யசோத இளம் சிங்கம்
கார்மேனி செங்கண் கதிர்மதியம் போல் முகத்தான் நாராயணனே நமக்கே நாராயணனே நமக்கே பறை தருவான். நாராயணனே நமக்கே பறை தருவான். பாரோர் புகழ படிந்தேலோரெம்பாவாய்.
பாரோர் புகழ படிந்தேலோரெம்பாவாய்.
Today we will be singing Enna Rakshiso Nenu Namaskar to one and all. My name is Manome Vener, and for this year's Margazhi Yuva Utsav, I'm going to be playing a Devaranama in the Raga Janasa Modini called Karidere Barabarade set to Aditala. I'm a part of my school band, and I'm just trying to explore Carnatic music on my saxophone. I hope you enjoy the song. I'm really thankful to Yada for giving me this opportunity to play here. Thank you.
So now we're going to talk about the Sankhya Yoga. So this is when Krishna basically tells Arjuna, he's trying to respond to Arjuna, right? Sankhya Yoga means yoga of knowledge. This is where Krishna is trying to disperse knowledge. In Vishada Yoga, the grief one, Arjuna is basically asking questions of him, right? And then this is where he's trying to get bestowed knowledge upon him by Krishna. So Krishna starts to speak after Arjuna asks these questions. He basically says, "Are you not ashamed to behave in this way at this critical moment, now in the face of a war?" So basically, if you've ever had a cricket tournament or any serious thing like a final exam or anything like that, let's take a final exam for instance, right? Let's say there's something like, if you're very competitive, you're very energetic, you want to be the 100% most. Let's say you get a reward if you have the highest score, like a reward that is desired by all in that class, right? But then the person who you're competing with, right, is a friend, a good friend of yours, and you don't want to necessarily compete with them, right? A better example is if you're on a cricket team, you're about to play a cricket match, then you see your best friend is your best, it could be like a cousin, your like even your own brothers, your own sisters, whatever, right? And they're bowling to you straight away. You wouldn't want to face them, but you still have to. Basically, what he's saying is, this is the critical moment point. You can't be asking this question, okay? If the bowler is coming at like 90 miles per hour, you don't have time to think about this. Just play. Just play on your own merit, is kind of what it is. So he basically says, stand up and fight, have that courage, have that fortitude. But then Arjuna is still he's still not coerced. He's basically saying, how can you ask me to do this to my own relatives? And after that he's saying, I don't want to kill the Kauravas, I'm overwhelmed with pity. He starts to go into the depression state kind of thing. He says, basically this is when Krishna says, you're unnecessarily wasting your time on a fact that deserves it the least. Because it's about why you're fighting, right? The reasons you're fighting. And it says that it says that Arjuna seems to speak like a wise person. But he says that the really wise do not grieve for the dead or the not dead. This is where he starts to explain that even at this point, even like it's like natural. Like you wouldn't want to face your own relative if he's blowing 90 miles per hour to you. It basically says you should play anyway, because even if you get out, right? Even if you get killed, that is, in battle, when you relate these things, it's not the end for you. Similarly here, the soul still kind of lives on. There, for example, if you hit the bowler for 6 and they decide to just remove him, right? It's not the end for him. He still has many more cricket matches to play. And this is kind of what it is. The soul still is living. The body which we are in is just a container to hold us. It's like a liquid. The liquid is life, right? We can have all types of cups that we hold it in. We can have even the cheapest cups, right? We can have the most expensive cups, exquisite, covered in gold, very, very fancy, right? Those are all just tools. You can be a king, the very exquisite cups, or just like a peasant, the very cheap looking cups, right? Filled with water or something. That's still just a tool to contain life, right? And that's where it is. If you pour it out, when you die, when you pour it out, that water is still there. That water is still there. It's just because it's no longer in that cup, that doesn't mean the water disappeared. It's still there. That's your life. So basically, Arjuna's saying, when you see death around us, how can you basically say this, right? It's kind of skeptical, and this is where Lord Krishna tries to make Krishna. Sorry, this is where Lord Krishna makes Arjuna. He changes his mind process a little bit. He wants him basically to see. He wants the body to be seen as a tool to contain life. Is what he kind of sees. He says the body is just a mask. Okay, you can kill that body, but that soul is still there, right? And eventually all souls are going to be released, and every soul together, from plant, insect, bug, to like the highest, pride-est lion, to like Arjuna even, they're all related to that one Atman soul that comes all together into that one Atman, is kind of what he's saying. But Arjuna is still very skeptical, right? Even when you even when you know that even if you get out in cricket, it's not the absolute end. You still have much more cricket matches to play. You would still much rather not get out, because you don't know what to do. You have your own relative who is bowling 90 miles per hour at you. You just don't know what to do, right? And this is where Arjuna's question comes in. And what is it that was real and always existent, right? What he's saying is, okay, so if these souls are always existent, so what things are existent and what are non-existent? Are these souls existent or are they non-existent? Will they eventually cease to exist, like after they die, or is like a rock or something, or will it just be eternally there forever? And basically Krishna says that the all-pervading self is eternally existent. Nobody can destroy it. But he says this body itself is perishable. That cup, right? That cup where you hold it, for instance, there can be like hundreds and hundreds of cups. Well, let's just take 10 cups, for instance, right? There'll be the very, very cheap ones. It all has water in it, but it's all related to that one Atman, because these cups are just positions, status that you hold, that holds life. You can put that all in one bowl, that's one eternally existing Atman. It's all one soul combined, and that's kind of what it is. So basically, Lord Krishna says, don't worry about killing them, because either way, even if you kill them, it's kind of a win-win situation, because they'll go because they're still eternally existent, you'll get the throne of Hastinapura. If you get killed, you'll be remembered as a martyr and a hero, and you'll be joining all those other Atmans, is basically what he's saying. Still though, Arjuna is kind of skeptical, right? He has more and more questions, and Krishna starts to compare. One more analogy is that bodies are like old clothes. They're kind of like old clothes. Think about it like this. Going back to the cup thing. A bowl, right? Let's say a person died, you take the cup, you pour into the bowl with all the other Atmans, right? Then you say, okay, let's make a new person. You take a new cup, and you take that same soul, that same water, and you feel that exact same or a different cup, right? It's like changing it's like changing clothes. The clothes I'm wearing right now are different from what I was wearing in the morning, right? The morning, the body I was expressing through is different. The one I'm expressing it through now is different. So technically, what that kind of is that my soul has been living for eternities. This is like the millionth stage or something. This is like a very, very long stage. So this is why he says that you should not grieve. But Arjuna says, okay, Mr. Know-it-all here, how do you know all this stuff? How do you know all this stuff? You've never been through this. You don't remember what happened before this. How do you know it? Basically, yes. Right? Basically what he says is, Arjuna says, we only know what happens between life and death. We don't know what happens after that. We don't have time machines. We can't teleport to heaven or anything. We don't know what happens. So like how, right? So obviously Krishna is a divine person. He is saying all these things. He says, even if this be your knowledge of life, still why should you hesitate to act, right? Because either way it's still a win-win situation. As I said before, many ponder deeply over the nature of the spirit. Some see it as a marvel, others describe it so. Still others hear it as a marvel. But the greatest surprise, the marvel of all marvels, is that none really understands it, even though explained. The spirit is always indestructible, and hence it is futile to grieve at the death of perishable creatures, because these things happen every single second of the day. So there's really no point of grieving for it. So basically Arjuna says, okay, so if it's like wearing clothes and discarding old clothes, if it's like birth and death are inevitable, then what should I do? What am I doing here, right? He says, and this is where Krishna starts to say that this is where your duty is. This is what your duty is to do, right? You're a Kshatriya. You are meant to fight. That's what you're meant to do. Think about it like this, for example. You have like a mud pot, just a small mud pot, and just a regular cup. Let's say that mud pot, right, is not meant to make the consumer drink that water. It's meant for it to put oil and light a deepam, the mud pot. But the but the other cup, it's just meant for you to give water. Other one might be give coffee, give tea, give Sprite, whatnot, right? Basically what he says is, as your Kshatriya, this is kind of your duty, right? This is basically what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to fight in every righteous war, and this is basically what you're supposed to do. That you're a Kshatriya. That's what you're supposed to do. You're a warrior. You're of the warriors, right? So far he was explaining him we're still not done with Sankhya Yoga, but he was explaining him Jnana Yoga, which is the philosophy of wisdom. Now he's going to teach him the philosophy of action, which is Karma Yoga. So the difference is, wisdom is that, like, the basic stuff of the Bhagavad Gita, what is the soul, is eternally existent. Now then the action, Karma Yoga, is what do you even do with this life, is kind of what it is. Basically what he says is, this life should not be wasted. It should all be consumed. That all that water should be consumed. He said basically that if you're a Kshatriya, you should fight. If you're a Brahmin, you should pray. If you're a Vaishya, you should go to beyond the farthest regions of America, even if you're in like China, and sell. If you're a Shudra, then you should try your hardest work, and you should farm the entire lands for you and your family. It's kind of what it is, right? And naturally we all have these different traits, these different characteristics that we need to put out. We basically need to enact in our life. basically says metal association of an object produces an attachment or love in this object. This is kind of like how to bring how to you that you can become such a wise man and understand all this reality. It starts all the way from mental association of an object. Say for example phones. People like phones, they use them all the time, they're addicted to them, right? While it is normal, it's not rare or anything, it's very, very normal. It's basically, that's the source of your problems. You shouldn't do that. Don't be attached to metal, to certain like things that are perishable, is basically what he's saying. You have a pet, you can love that pet, okay, it's natural, but don't be too attached to it, okay? Just view it as another person wearing clothes. Eventually he's going to discard those clothes, wear new ones. So basically he's saying that's where it starts in. A man of perfect wisdom and perfect knowledge sees everything clearly and there's nothing that he does not know. This means he's not attached to any materialistic thing. Like the thing you're watching through right now, okay, is basically what he's saying. And the desires, they cause a very strict attachment that's not good for you, is basically what he's saying. This is the first step to realizing that truth. And another thing he says, basically, coming to this, is the next step is to discard your mindset of possession. You don't own things. It's either it's living or not living. It's there or it's not there, essentially. It's basically saying any sense of I or mine should not exist. That's the second step to kind of doing it. And this is just one glimpse of this highest state of experience. Divine is enough to free one from all agitations and their sufferings. It brings everlasting peace and happiness. Because the things you're attached to, eventually they will cause suffering. When you care about them too much, they will cause suffering. One example. I'll think about a materialistic object. Your dogs, my pet for example. You have a pet for 14 years, let's say a dog. You have a dog for 14 years. Eventually it will pass away, though, right? You will be sad for that, you will grieve, you will not know what to do, right? But if you're a truly wise man, right? If you're a truly wise man, although you will actually respect his depart or her depart from the world, and you will know that one day even you will join that pet too in that eternal Atman, and that essentially he's been living for like an infinite amount of years, and you will too, they will too, you'll be united sometime. That's basically what he's saying. And for now, that's all I've got for Sankhya Yoga. Thank you so much for watching.